going to solve these because there are multiple terms, because there are more than two terms. If there are only two terms in the equation, I'm going to cross multiply. But there are more than two terms here, so I'm going to take the denominator, y, and I'm going to put that with each term like this, and multiply. So 4 times y is 4y plus sign. And when you have a fraction, something on the top with the same thing on the bottom cancels out. So that's just a 3 there, equals y times y is y squared minus sign. Top y cancels with bottom y, 9. Now we have a squared term, so I want to leave it positive. So you're going to leave the y squared minus 9 alone and move everything else over. You do that by doing opposites. The opposite of positive 4y is negative 4y, so I'm going to put that over here. And the opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. You have to do it on both sides. Opposites cancel, so I get 0 equals y squared minus 4y, and then negative 9 and a negative 3 is a total of 12 negatives. I'm going to factor because there's a quadratic term you must factor. So I'm going to factor that. Split up my y's. Bring the first sign down. If the last sign is negative, these have to be opposite signs, so positive here. If the last sign's negative, it's opposite signs. If it's positive, it's same sign. So the factors of 12, you have to work backwards. The factors of 12 that when you subtract them equal 4 are 6 and 2. You always put the biggest one first. Now because it equals 0, you have to do the opposites. So the opposite of negative 6 is positive 6. The opposite of positive 2 is negative 2. You need to make sure that it doesn't make your denominator 0, but it doesn't. So those are your two answers. So again, I'm going to take my denominator and multiply each term by that denominator. Negative 12 times v is negative 12v. V times v is v squared plus sign, top cancels with bottom, 27. Leave the v squared term positive, so you need to move the other side of the equal sign. So the opposite of negative 12v is a positive 12v. I'm going to kind of put that in the middle because we want the v's to be in the middle. Opposites cancel. 0 equals v squared plus 12v plus 27. I'm going to factor by making two sets of parentheses, splitting up the v's. Everything's positive, so everything stays positive. Work backwards. The factors of 27 that when I add them equal 12 are 9 times 3, biggest one first, do the opposite. The opposite of positive 9 is negative 9. The opposite of positive 3 is negative 3. And the only thing that would make the denominator here is 0 is if we had a 0 for an answer, but we don't. So those are my two answers. I'm going to take the denominator and multiply it with each term. So times u, times u, times u. U times u is u squared. On this one, top cancels with bottom, so that's plus 32 equals 12 times u is 12u minus sign. Top cancels with bottom, 3. You need to leave the u squared alone because it's positive. So you're going to do the opposite of positive 12u is negative 12u. Put that over here. The opposite of negative 3 is positive 3. So I've got u squared minus 12u, 32 plus 3 is a positive 35, equals opposites cancel, 0. Make two sets of parentheses, split up the u's, bring the first term down. Since the last term is positive, it means same sign, so same sign that you used before, so negative. Work backwards. The factors of 35 that when I add them equal 12 are 7 times 5. You always put the biggest one first. Now do the opposites. Opposite of negative 7 is positive 7. Opposite of negative 5 is positive 5. Neither one of those makes the denominator 0, so those are my two answers.